I'm Lynette Zang, CEO and founder of Zang Enterprises. We support community, which is what this is all about, as well as sound money globally. I first want to start with a shout out to Dana. I am so excited to see you in Australia, and make sure that you let me know who you are, because I don't know what you look like, so I wouldn't identify you. But, you know, if you look at what happened last week, right, and on Monday, the global markets were crashing. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the week, they're doing great. Nothing to see here, people. Just pass on by. But what does this all mean? We're going to take a look at the meaning of the market sell-off. So according to this particular article, this week's rout signals the end of a post-pandemic stability, where what they do, central banks around the world gave out lots of free money to keep people spending, and that created the semblance of stability. Not real stability. Just like you can't really grow wealth on debt, only the semblance of wealth. So this was just the semblance of stability and the beginning of a new period of unpredictability. And there are so many reasons for this unpredictability, not the least of which I really want to talk about next week in depth. But not the least of which is the division between the global central bankers, with some raising rates, some lowering rates, and some keeping them the same. That creates a lot of unpredictability and, oh, dare we say it, unintended consequences, which is ridiculous. But the ties between fundamentals and day-to-day stock price moves, I'm not sure they've ever been more disconnected than they are today. And that is a fact. And they've been disconnected. I mean, we were taught that the stock market was supposed to show us what was happening in the real economy. And let's face it, with prices and stocks and the fiat money products at nosebleed levels, there is no real price discovery in Wall Street. It has become a fully trading market. And yeah, I'm not sure they've ever been more disconnected than they are today either. Trees do not grow to the sky. Nothing does. But here you go. They're going to calm everybody down. Just calm down. Just keep your money and buy the dips. Buy those dips. Well, volatility pros say the record VIX surge, which is the fear index, on Monday was a head fake. Oh, yeah. Oh, it just overstated market stress. Nothing to see here. Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain. Just leave your money in the markets. Leave your wealth there. It's fine. Watch it go up. But what is this VIX really trying to tell us? Let's take a look. Because we're going back to 2008 with this. And here's the VIX spike there, here's the VIX spike there, and here's the one that happened last Monday. So it's pretty significant, and we're seeing some pattern shifts. And when you see a pattern shift, you don't really even have to know exactly what that means. You just need to know something has changed. And I need to be in a proper position so that I don't have to worry about it. Because look at after the 2008, 2009 financial crisis, you can still see that there are spikes inside of the VIX, though not as high as what happened in 2020. But in all of these cases, there was dislocation in the treasury markets. The Treasury is the foundation of the global financial system. And in all of those cases, boom, it froze, including the one that we had in 2020. But I want to point out to you very significantly, does this look the same as this? Or is there a lot more volatility in these markets since 2020? Since 2020. Yes, there is. It is not your imagination. You can see the clear pattern shift. I hope you can anyway. If you can't, let me know. I'll go into it deeper and I'll even break it down more. But there is a clear pattern shift in volatility, which means liquidity. the ability to buy and sell without much price movement. And it has shifted since the pandemic, and it's much, much greater. So that means that the markets are a whole lot more vulnerable. Are the central banks ready for you to know this yet? My guess is no, they're not, because I don't think they're fully in place yet to take advantage of it. But I want to point out that there is a pattern shift, and these markets are now very unpredictable. So nothing to see here. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Be very protective of your wealth. This is the time to fly to safety, just like we're seeing the global central bankers fly to safety, right? How do they fly to safety? Gold, sound money. So all of this is indicating that things are very unpredictable and that this next crisis could frankly loom its ugly head at any moment. So if you don't have your strategy in place yet, scan that QR code, click that link. Hopefully, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, help us grow and spread this word, because ignorance does not make you immune. It just leaves you vulnerable. And quite honestly, I want the central banks to be vulnerable, because we as a community are rising up and saying, no, you cannot abuse this anymore. And we can do it real simply just by converting the money they control into the money they don't control. They only control what it looks like, but we know the truth, don't we? Okay, so going back to this, you just have to determine for yourself whether or not you think that Monday was a head fake. I don't think it was. I think it was a warning. At what point will you take heed about these copious amounts of warnings that the markets are giving us? I hope it's today. I mean, I'm dead serious. I hope it's today. Because if you think you're getting out when you feel like getting out, let's think again. What does this say? It has now been 1.5 hours since the market opened, and users at Schwab, Vanguard, Fidelity, Ameritrade, and E-Trade are still unable to access their accounts. Let that sink in for a moment. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. It is that simple. Because they're the ones that own your wealth. They're the legal registered owners. So go to court and say, but that was my stock fund. Oh, no, it wasn't. As soon as you make a deposit in any bank or you buy any security and that's held in street name, which is where 99.9%, I mean, you can't even hold a bond yourself anymore like you used to be able to do. And they are quickly reducing your ability to hold a stock certificate. If you don't hold it, you don't own it, they own it, and they're gambling with your money. So you're taking all the risk, plus paying copious amount of fees. Who do you think walks away in the end? Let's just kind of think back for a second. Going back to 2008, who on Wall Street went to jail? No one. Why? Because all of this Wall Street garbage, they're contracts, and you didn't write those contracts. So guess whose best interest they're written in? You don't have to worry about that. Sound money, physical money in your possession. That's what will protect you. Okie doke. Do you really think you can get out whenever you want? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And I get a lot of questions, but when gold goes to its fundamental value, who is going to buy it? The wealthy, because wealth never disappears, it merely shifts your location. And once everybody understands what garbage this is, that it has absolutely no purchasing power value, like this $500 million Venezuelan bolivar. What can I buy with this? What can a wheelbarrow of these buy? Absolutely nothing. Do not be blinded by nominal confusion. You and I both know what the truth is because we go to the grocery store. We have to pay for our insurance and our medical care and all those other things. Do they cost you the same? Do they cost you less? Or do they cost you more? And is it that that asset or that service is worth that much more? Or is it that this thing is worth that much less? Buy, flippin', design. How easy is this? So easy. So easy. Okie doke. Let's move. You can tell I'm really hot about this topic because they really want to just keep you suckered in to make it easy to transfer your wealth. And that's not okay with me because I absolutely, how many times can you be lied to and you do not know the truth? And we have been lied to our entire lives, and that is not okay with me. Is it okay with you? Because gold and silver reveal the truth in the physical markets. But, all right, let's stay with this. Bank of Japan won't raise rates when markets are unstable. So they raised the rates. That created the yen carry trade starting to unwind. Back right off. Who's really in control here? That is the big question. Is it really the central banks that are in control? Or have they handed all of that control over to Wall Street? And do you think it's possible? Not what we see. What we see we can deal with. It's that iceberg. Underneath that iceberg, all of those derivative bets, all of that gambling, that pure, unadulterated gambling that's happening beneath the surface that could easily overwhelm the central bankers' ability to print their way out of this next mess. But make no mistake, they will attempt it. Absolutely. And will they turn around and pivot and lower rates? Absolutely. If they do at 50 basis points or more, 70 basis points, 75 basis points like the markets are calling for, then you know that there's a lot of trouble ahead. So we'll see what they do, and I can't tell you what they do because they don't let me in their meetings, but I can tell you that they're going to attempt to do just a quarter of a point, and that's more about you than it is Wall Street. They want to keep you stupid. I want you to have the ability to make educated choices. So let's look at some charts, okay? This first chart is the NASDAQ, and we can use this as basically a proxy for the market. And this is going back a bunch of years, but what I want to point out here is that gap. So on Monday, it was like a falling knife, right? And because it opened much lower. So what we're dealing with the rest of the week is filling that gap. Remember, I warned you about that on Monday when I did that emergency meeting, that it gapped down. And I've shown you over the years, 100% of the time, that gap will be filled. When? That is hard to say, but at some point, all gaps get filled. This looks like it's filling the rest of the week, last week, and potentially we'll see what happens this week. But in my strong opinion, that is simply what's happening, is that gap is getting filled. You see this, right? This little jot here, and look at what it did. It went and filled that gap that was created back in May, last May. So all gaps do get filled. I believe that is simply what is happening here, and we'll see. It's just filling the gap. There's a little bit more that it has up here. So could it go higher? And all it's doing is filling that gap. That's all. There's a gap there. You also have the downside, and then it'll go below that. But look at this gap here when it gapped up. That gap also has to get filled. When? We'll find out, won't we? They're going to try and postpone that? Of course they will. I believe that we are simply filling a short-term gap. This is silver, spot silver, which I love silver. Silver is my personal barterable position. I have enough silver to cover my basic needs along with my 2 daughters for 10 years. Everybody's got to do it to their level of comfort, but you know, silver has backed off, right? Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, I don't want silver. Look at that. This is the spot gold, this is the spot silver contract. The cup accumulation is firmly in play. Will it conclude this cup, this accumulation pattern? I think it is highly likely, and I could be wrong, we're going to find out, that it will be filled by the end of this year. And that means that it's got to go all the way up to about 50, and I do believe it will be filled. So, and maybe it'll happen by the end of this year, maybe it won't, but understand that when you see this cup accumulation pattern, that is the time to be buying, because it tells you that the smart money has recognized an undervalued situation and is quietly accumulating. And they want to accumulate before you, right? They want to get into it before you do. Well, I always think you should do what the smartest guys in the room are doing for themselves. So that's silver, spot silver contract, and this is the spot gold contract. And I think it actually even went up a little bit more today, but it's still chump change comparatively speaking. So we had the breakout last March, and where are we from there? A gap. So when you see a pullback in the spot price, it's filling the gap. That's all it's doing. Because everything, markets, believe it or not, even though they seem to be disorganized and disorderly, there are certain givens that just always happen. You just have to kind of wait and see. Because since they filled the gap, and maybe you can see this little line here, it's slated to go a whole lot higher, yet it is still severely undervalued. The true fundamental value of an ounce of gold is somewhere north of 40,000 bucks. Currently, right now, the current fundamental value of an ounce of silver is somewhere north of 2,000 bucks. Do they want you to know that so that you participate and buy it at a cheap level? No, they do not. They want you to buy it high when things are ready to collapse so that they can transfer your wealth their way. But we're going to be smarter than that because we have the tools to make educated choices. Does it take a little bit of effort? Of course it does. Anything worth having takes a little bit of effort. Freedom is not free. We have to fight for it. We have to create a revolution for a sound money foundation so that they cannot lie to you and steal your wealth. And we do that simply by converting their garbage fiat into sound money. It's just that simple. Just buy gold and silver. Hold it, own it. It cannot be inflated away. They can manipulate what you see, but they cannot inflate it away. So the other thing that I wanted to kind of bring up is what happened in the cryptocurrency markets there, and particularly Bitcoin. And this is just an image of Bitcoin. It is obviously not real gold, but they want you to think about it. So Bitcoin as digital gold thesis was undermined by that crypto sell-off. And this is Bitcoin versus gold. So this versus this, right? Real gold, which is used in every single sector of the global economy, broadest base of functionality, broadest base of demand. And this is an image of Bitcoin because Bitcoin's really this. Okay, so here it is. This is Bitcoin used in one area. Some great technology underneath, but is this the answer? Nope. This is just an imitation. And there's a reason why they made it look like gold, because that's the way they want you to think about it. But it ain't this. It isn't. when we go through this fight that we're going through with our monetary system, you want something that has the broadest base of buyer. That's why gold has never gone to zero. What you have here is a trading vehicle. That's what cryptocurrencies primarily are. Not entirely, but I have really yet to hear anybody talk about the full functionality of cryptocurrencies. And when we're going into it, and I know that's the direction that we're going in. I just want to have a say, and I want to make sure that there is a foundation of sound money. And if it's not in the monetary system, you better be holding it. You better become your own central bank and hold that money yourself. Okay, so Bitcoin has decoupled from gold's price since last month. It's actually been not really coupled with it anyway, but okay. This year's rally mainly driven by new U.S. Bitcoin ETFs. So what's an ETF? It's a derivative. So you've got a derivative of a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. There ain't nothing underneath there. I'm sorry, but there isn't. You know, and if anybody really has the ability to show me the functionality of any of the cryptocurrencies, you know, they've got some good things. You can carry a lot of wealth on a little teeny thumb drive and you can go places, and that has a lot of value. The smart contracts, the blockchain technology also has a lot of value, but it also has a lot of tracking capabilities, so it takes away your privacy. So I know you think you're outside of the system, but I really pretty much disagree with that. So look at how nice and steady even the spot gold market is compared to the volatility in Bitcoin, because it's still trying to find its way and it's still getting adopted, and it's getting adopted by Wall Street. So is this likely to survive? Maybe. And guess what? When I see a clear vision of what is actually going to survive and where we are in the valuation cycle, because this is valued in the fiat money. This is valued in the fiat money, and that's what you can convert it into. It hasn't turned out to be a good tool of barter because it's so volatile. So show me the functionality. I'm open to learning because I want to share it with everybody. I want everybody to make educated choices that puts your best interest first. And it's not because you agree with me or you don't agree with me. You are the one that's going to have the greatest impact on your choices. Not me. It's going to have the greatest impact on the choices that I make. So that's why I'm so keen on education and why I give you all the links and I give you the tools to hold my toes to the fire. I'm just saying hold everybody's toes to the fire, because you have to make educated choices that put your best interest first. And the only way that you can really do that is if you have all of the information and you have good information. And you don't listen to the man behind the counter, because he does not have your best interest at heart. And those central banks that are out there, they're not doing this for your benefit. They're doing it for their benefit. They are trying to survive and still remain in control of the money. And they're not even elected officials. I don't want them in control of my money. Do you? And even Jim Cramer, who I am not a fan of, what did he say? Remember this: gold held up a lot better than crypto. I mean, what did he even say to that? So if you haven't done it yet, please give us a like, leave us a comment, share, because ignorance doesn't make anyone immune. And if you haven't done it yet, please hit that button and subscribe. Hit the bell. We'll let you know, because this is my favorite day of the week when we're live. We do not filter questions. We're not going to be mean to anybody and no bigotry. But other than that, you can ask me anything. So with that said, let's go ahead and start the live questions. Okie doke. And Donna Gilpatrick asks, hi Lynette, why does it seem they are discounting the pre-33 coins. Seems a no-brainer to me, or am I missing something? Well, the reason why they are discounting and the way that they're doing it, that's the way we should talk about it first. How are they doing it? They're doing it by manipulating the spot price of gold, because most people look at that and go, oh, well, that's how much gold is worth. So if it kind of appears like it's not doing very much, I mean, I showed you that steady piece, then people are like, and yet the spot market or the crypto market is flying, right? Whatever is flying is going to get the eyes, and a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. And once you're clear on it, 100%, Donna, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Now, the pre-33 coins are going to be impacted by people's need for cash and, all of that other kind of stuff. Just like when we see the spot gold market go down when the market is crashing, it's because people need to raise money. But overall, we see a long-term series of higher and higher lows. And in fact, I just did a video, which I'm not sure when it's coming out because it's more timeless than timely. And I went through the whole pre-33, this quality level of coins chart going all the way back to the beginning to 1970. So we'll, keep it in mind, and I'm not sure when it's coming out, but you definitely want to watch that when it does. Okay, so yeah, it's a no-brainer. And Melissa Mayer, I always see you here. Hi, Melissa. Thank you. God bless you too. Will there be a live stream available for those of us who can't go to your event in Australia? Well, Good as Gold Australia is actually putting this event on. I think we will be able to share some snippets, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be a live stream. That is beyond our control. But, and I don't know if you're in Australia or where you are, so I'm pretty sure there won't be a live stream, but this is not our event. And we've got some really big plans for some live streaming events on a very regular basis. And of course we do it here right now, but okay, I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit.
I was going to say also, Melissa, make sure you're following us on Instagram too, right? Because we're going to be posting tons of content on our story. It's going to be a little more personal there on Instagram. So make sure you're following us there. Because while we might have a live stream, we'll keep you updated along what we're doing there on Instagram, okay?
Absolutely. And I might be jumping the gun a little bit with this one, but I'm so excited, and I don't know when this is going to happen yet. So there is no time frame on this. However, at our new offices, there is an amphitheater that is flipping gorgeous. And we plan on doing our live with live audience. So maybe you're not in Australia, but if you're in Arizona or you're coming to Arizona, you can get in on that and be part of the audience live, and as well as what we're doing here with the questions. I can't wait till we do that. That for me is going to be so much fun. And Thomas Fish asks, can you redo Weimar currently chart collapse again? Gold to go up August 22nd at BRICS Russia? Maybe. I don't think they're ready to do a currency backed by gold yet because they have to get rid of all of that debt. That's why I'm watching what's happening in Zimbabwe. But I can certainly redo the Weimar currency chart collapse again. I can. Just write that down and I'll have that for you next week in the live. Thank you, Thomas. And ML asks, question for Lynette. Wouldn't a prolonged cyber attack, yes, indeed, be profoundly deflationary? Yes, it would, absolutely. What would gold and silver do in this type of economic environment? Well, there's no fever like gold fever. And as we've all been experiencing, I mean, is CrowdStrike what happened with the computers going down on a global basis, including Microsoft's 365? You think that's over yet? Heck no. In fact, this morning when I was watching Bloomberg, I just caught a flash of it, and then I haven't been able to find it. So I have it recorded, so I'm going to have to look for it and see if I can find it. But they said that there was another major outage yesterday, and it had a great impact on some of the banks in England. When I went in to find that data, I couldn't. And I also asked my techie guys here, because fortunately I'm surrounded by a lot of young people that understand this stuff way better than I do. And they couldn't find it yet either. So I'm going to have to go back, which I will, and listen to that and find it. But look at all of those companies that you think, Fidelity, Vanguard, all these guys, these are big kahunas. I mean, Vanguard and Fidelity, please, and Blackstone and all of that. Nope. You have no access to your account. You have this great statement that says you have whatever you have. You just can't touch it. Yay. I mean, there's so many things that are going on. It's like layers and layers of stress. What about fintech? You think that's over yet? No, it is not. They're just not making this stuff visible. They want you to think that everything is okay and hunky-dory, and it's not. Wait. What would gold and silver? Oh, okay, I answered that. Okay. Woof asks, Lynette, do you think the economic crash would most likely happen at election time? Not really. I think they want to try and keep it calm through the election, because we can all see what's going on with that election right now. A little bit of chaos. So, but here's the real question is, will something happen that will overwhelm the ability of Wall Street's and the central bank's ability to keep this stuff floating? I mean, this is typically what does it, because there's just a whole lot more free money in the system. But I think they're going to want to wait until after the election. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I could ask the Magic 8 Ball. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, Magic 8 Ball. Do you think the economic crash would most likely happen at election time? My reply is no. Okay, so the Magic 8 Ball agrees with me. Okay, and Rosie asks, hi Rosie, hello, when the revaluation happens, what happens to your mortgage payments? Yeah, what we've seen is those things don't change. The debt is actually indexed to the level of inflation, creating a lot more pain to you. That's why part of the strategy is about, boom, when they do that first overnight revaluation, boom, you pay that mortgage off. I'm not waiting the average 9 months that we'll see spot gold remain at those higher levels before that 2 resets and then rises again. Just get it done so you don't have to think about it. I've heard it said that if you have $50,000 in the bank, you may only end up with $5,000. Would mortgage payments decrease? Well, when they do that overnight, what they do is they lop off zeros. So you could even have $5 in the bank, right? That loaf of bread that you were going to buy, like we saw in Zimbabwe, and I can do another piece on this. If you guys want me to do that and the currency revaluations and the pricing, let me know, and I will put that on my list to do, because I still have on my list to do gold and silver through inflation and deflation and hyperinflation. I'm sorry, it's just so much is going on that I'm trying to explain, but I promise I will get to that. So yes, they will lop off zeros on average, and I can't tell you what that overnight devaluation rate is. Frequently, it is 1,000 to 1, which is how Rosie, I think, came up with 50,000 to 5,000. It could be more than that. It could be less than that. On average, they do 3 revaluations. And maybe that's because people still have confidence that they say, well, this is going to fix the circumstance, and they revalue. But after you've been brutalized 3 times, yeah, don't believe them anymore. But hey, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, 6 times so far. So far. So we'll have to see what happens. Cool Brother G asks, why do you think Harry Dent? I did get to sit on a panel with him once, and I really did enjoy that. And I would totally welcome, and maybe we can arrange that, to if we have a panel discussion, because we've got some other great things in the work. I mean, I love Zang Enterprises. I gotta say, I have all the freedom in the world to tell you anything I want, to have anybody on that I want, to do whatever I want that helps educate you and put your best interest first. So, Harry, if you're listening, or if anybody out there is listening, let's get together and have a conversation. But I'll go back to the question now. Why do I think Harry Dent says that gold will be overvalued and recommended getting 10 and 30-year... Oh, please. Education is a really wonderful thing. Otis Woodward asks, is a candidate for either party going to mention the dollar is in deep doo-doo during the debates? Do they even realize it? I mean, it's always been really interesting to me. And I'm telling you, I have been groomed for this moment in time. And the reason why I say that is because I'm old enough to look back on my path, and see how, like, if I had not gotten divorced when I did and had 2 babies that I had to support like I did and become a stockbroker because I couldn't make as much money as a banker to support them. And if I hadn't been there and stumbled, I can't even tell you, I don't even remember how it happened, but stumbled across non-dollar denominated bonds, I would have never started studying currencies, and I wouldn't understand that what we're really dealing with here is a currency life cycle issue. So the reality is, I need the question back, please.
Sorry, is it political one?
Oh, it was well, no, this one wasn't political, was it?
There it is, sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
okay. Oh, all right, that's where, okay, well, go past the political one. I never get political because, quite frankly, I'm going to do this again for you guys, but I've gone back and done a study on all of the laws on the books pertaining to gold confiscation. And guess what? They're still there. Why? Why are they still there? And every central bank has a gold revaluation account. Why? Because they intend to use that again. So it's important to understand it. And if you hadn't had these studies, and then I've spoken to some very brilliant people that really don't understand what we're actually dealing with. So they'll go in and they'll talk about all of these technical things just like the market, but they don't have any history behind it. It's just what is happening now, or what's been happening since 71 or something like that, right? Whereas you've got to step back and look at the big picture to see the truth. You can't see. It's like a Seurat painting, right? And that's pointillism. So what does he do? He lays down all these teeny weeny little dots of different colors. And so if you're up close and you're looking at it, like I've had the opportunity to do, and it's magnificent, but you just see all these teeny weeny dots of color. Then you pull all the way back, and what you see is this beautiful scene of bathers and people, laying there and relaxing, enjoying their Sunday. So it's the same kind of thing with currencies and currency life cycles. If you just have short-term vision and you're just looking at this itty-bitty piece, all you see are these little dots. But when you step back, that's when you see the picture. And that's what I see lacking with a lot of people in these markets. Harry Dent would be one. Okay, and P asks, as a Canadian, I agree and on the same page as you regarding the risk confiscation on pre-33. That being said, Do you still recommend pre-33 gold living in Canada for most protections or suggestions? Thank you so much, Lynette, thank you so much for showing up, for what you do, and feel extremely blessed to have someone like you in this. And I appreciate that. I have a huge obligation to help however many people I can and create an exponential thing. The challenge and I love Canada and I love Canadians, and I'll be at VRIC in January. The problem with Canada is that the Central Bank of Canada has gotten rid of all of their gold. So they don't have any gold to fall back on. And we certainly saw how heavy-handed the government could be when the truckers performed an absolutely legal strike, and boom, they were cut off. So I don't know whether Canada will do an overt confiscation or not, but why test it when you can do the pre-33s that are in a different classification all over the world? And there's a market for them all over the world that could still give you an extra layer of protection because, hey, this is your personal collection. Whereas I don't have any Canadian gold, new stuff. But the Central Bank of Canada doesn't have any gold, and desperate governments do desperate things. So yes, I still think now if there are collectible Canadian coins, then and you live in Canada, go that route. Right? But if not, this is another option for you.
I know we talk a lot about it, but can you determine or tell us what the difference is between the collectible coins and the other options that are available?
Well, the difference is the likelihood of another gold confiscation, because that's considered monetary gold, right? So the way that I look at it is if I can hold it in my IRA, that's not the kind of gold that I want, because it's also the kind of gold that is attached more at this time. This won't always be true, but at this time it's still tied more to the spot market, right? So that's the difference. I mean, this is a new American Eagle and it's 22 carats. It is the same gold content weight as this pre-33. This happens to be a 1908 Nomato, and probably the finest, I'm not going to say the most expensive because it's not, but one of the finest coins that I personally have because it's a Mint State 67. And we're going to do a quick little video on what all of that means, and you'll see the different quality levels. But Mint State 67 means it barely has any blemishes on it, right? So I want something that's collectible that is not classified as monetary gold.
So just to kind of confirm the raw coin that you had in your hand, I think that was, if that was
This
slabbed,
is
that would
new.
be collectible or no?
No, because this is a new coin, I think 2024 actually. This is 2024. Now,
Got it.
this one, and that's a great question. What's the difference between this brand new
Right.
American Eagle and this pre-33? What's the date on this coin? It's 1889. And you can see I'm holding both of them in my hands, right? The difference between the two is that they can create a whole bunch of these and it's new and it's classified as monetary gold. Even the raw coins, because if you read the law, it says anything minted prior to 1933 is classified as rare and collectible, because back in the day they didn't have them slabbed. PCGS came into being in 1986, which is when we issued the first gold coin in America. And prior to that, well, there were a bunch of 33s, but I could look at this just like that and go, oh, well, to me, that looks like a Mint State 67. No. Everything had to be authenticated, standardized. So there's like a whole, like a 100-step process. But the difference between these two is still in the law, right? Pre-33 Bitcoin is still classified as rare and collectible. And so this is actually what I use for my emergency gold, which is my savings account. So if I needed to raise some of this crappy fiat to pay salaries or bills or anything like that, this is what I sell first, right? And the whole strategy kind of takes me back to the strategy because it's built in layers. It's built in layers, right? It's not one thing, one size fits all. You sit down, scan that QR code, click that link, have a conversation with the strategy specialist, put your goals first. And then they can help you determine the right type of silver, the right type of gold, how much barterable silver, how much barterable gold, and on and on. It is a layered sound money strategy. And Seth Solar asks, is there anyone not lying to us? I want to call, but I have no way to know what I can trust today. It's hard, but that goes back to if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And even though if you really, 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 really insist on having a gold IRA or a silver IRA, if you really, 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 really want that, we'll do that for you. But our personal preference, because as we've seen over and over and over and over and over again, you have to hold it. So, I know that it's hard to trust, but frankly, I've been in these markets on some level since 1964. I've been on YouTube since August of 2016. I was at ITM Trading from 2002. I cut my teeth at Shearson. I'm a live person. I lead by example. If you're anywhere near Phoenix, come to my farm. If you call one of the strategy specialists, they can make those arrangements and you can come and see that I'm real. And what I'm recommending you buy is real. And I'm not going to hold it for you unless you do it in an IRA. Then I'm still not going to hold it. Gold Star Trust is going to hold it. But these, you're going to take possession of it. And I appreciate that you've been watching me for a long time and only now have cash to worry about since I retired. And especially, Seth Solar, if you are retired, it is really important that you talk to us. So, call us. I don't know where you are. I don't know how easy it is for you to come and see how real we are. But whatever I can do to help you, really. And that's true for everybody on our team. Because, God, Jacqueline, who's been with me for 5-6 years, absolutely love her. She really, the quality level of the people that we have at Zang Enterprises, call us, talk to us, test us out. Don't take our word for anything. We will give you all the tools that you need to do your own due diligence. Tell me who else does that. And hopefully I'm going to be in New Hampshire in September. If you're near there, come and meet us, right? I'm going to be doing the Peak Prosperity event with Chris Martinson, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm out and about. I try and do it, maybe quarterly-ish or something like that so that I can meet people around the world and do it from there. And Nancy Schultz asks, hello, Lynette, and thank you so much for your years of helping us. You are very welcome, and thank you very much for being here and showing your support. This is the community. I have $500,000 plus in my IRA. I want to take it out, but I turned 59 and a half in November. Wait 3 months or bite the bullet now. Thank you very much. Well, we have the election in November, and quite honestly, that probably buys you a little bit of time, but I would still take a look at how you are invested in your IRA. And it just might make some sense to go to cash, to go to a government fund, to do something like that. And what you're also going to find when you're working with us at Zang Enterprise is that we're all working together, right? So when you're talking to a strategy specialist, I meet with them every week, and then I have a 2-hour one-on-one with them on a rotating basis because we've got several, right? But I get constant texts from them with questions, as you can see when I'm answering the questions that you ask them. So, and I'm an ex-stockbroker. So I can help you understand, we can help you understand what you're positioned into, and then we can go from there. And that's really the way. It's all about education. It's all about education. So call us. We'll see what you have. We'll help you understand what you have in writing from the horse's mouth, and then you'll go from there. But I want to say that since you turn 59 and a half in November and we have the elections in November, that I don't think we've started the hyperinflation, but I think you'll be okay till November. This is the time to plan. This is the time to plan. Like I just had out last week, some architects and engineers up at my bug out location, and we're doing a master plan for the property. Am I ready to execute that plan today? Nope. But I'm ready to create the plan so that when I'm ready to pull the trigger, bam, I'm already set. That's what I suggest is let's get your plan in place. Let's see where you are. Let's see where you want to go. And our job is to help you get there. And our job doesn't even end there because this is really a lifetime commitment. We really are setting up this company to future-proof it. So, because you're always going to need help. Even after we get on the other side of this, you're always going to have to know the truth of what's happening so that you can make educated choices that puts your best interest first. So, you'll see. You're going to like us. I promise you're going to like us. And if you don't, let me know. But I'm totally sure you will. Ceciler asks, simpler question. Should I use my cash to pay off my $130,000 mortgage I've had since 2017 before investing the remainder? First of all, I'm going to tell you, you have to do what you are most comfortable doing. But if you have $130,000 mortgage, you're looking at about 4 ounces of gold, the equivalent, to pay off that mortgage. So for me personally, the only reason why I have a mortgage at all is because I want to execute the same strategy that the government is executing, which is to repay those debts with dollars that have no value, right? So here's how it works. So right now, let's just say it would take 5 ounces of gold in the current fundamental value to pay off that mortgage. And they're not going to do it on a one-to-one basis, which is how I have that calculated. So just bear with me on this though. So let's say it would take 5 ounces of gold to pay that off. When they do that overnight revaluation, I can't tell you what that's going to be, but in Venezuela, it went up like 3,500%. So what might take 5 of these might take 1 of these to pay it off. So you do what you're comfortable doing because it's not horrible to not be in debt. But personally, I'd rather pay it off with this than a bunch of these. Okie doke. And P, as a Canadian, I agree and on the same page as you regarding the... we already did that.
He asked it again. I just wanted to make sure that we answered it.
Oh,
I think
did I not?
No, you did good. It was just a follow-up that he had asked twice in the chat. So
Okay. Because I want to make sure. If I ever say something or use a term that you don't understand, do not take it like, oh, well, I should know that. No. My job is to translate financial noise into understandable language. So it's my job to figure out how to present this information to you in a way that you understand it. Please, because if you don't understand something or I haven't answered it clearly, you're not the only one. There's probably at least 100 or 1,000 or 20,000 other people that have the same question and are not clear. And so it really helps everybody out for you to participate and let me know when I need to do a better job, and I'm not insulted by it, so it's fine.
Absolutely, yeah. If you guys don't get an answer that you like, make sure that.
Well, it's not that you like, that you can understand.
Right. Yeah. If we don't hit it,
You might not like everything, all of my
not
answers.
answer
Oh,
it.
well.
If we don't hit it right on the head, ask us again. And we'll see if we can get you a better answer. The next question from low blood pressure. What's up, low blood pressure?
Right.
Is regards to your savings for the plan.
For my 10 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Just want to
okay.
make sure you understand that context.
Okay. It's not a metric ton of silver, and I'm not even sure exactly how much silver that is, to be honest with you, because I think in terms of ounces, not metric tons. And also silver is for certain things. Barterable silver is for certain things. Barterable gold is for other things. And we have that all broken out in the strategy. But the reason I'm going for 10 years is because this is a global currency life cycle issue. And I do believe that it's going to take a while to fully get rid of everything and be able to start in a new system. So no, it's not. Just call us. We'll calculate that out for you. That's not a problem. And Redeemed Patriot asks, I take care of neighbor's yard. She gives me fruits, vegetables, and spices from her garden. That's perfect. There must be more to it either below or it was just a statement. See, that's perfect. What you're doing is you are bartering a skill and creating community, and it is so critically important for us to create that local community. So thank you very much for sharing that. Everybody, take a lesson. It's a great lesson, because if somebody comes here and works on the farm, guess what? They go home with a whole bunch of stuff too. It's the way it works. And John Cusack asks, I'm too poor for gold. Is silver enough? Silver is better than nothing. And I want you to keep in mind that both gold and silver in any form, so even your 10-carat high school class ring that you probably may have in a drawer somewhere, has monetary value at its base. And again, learn some skills, because skills are barterable and they're important. So definitely silver is better than nothing, but you know what? I've accumulated a lot. Ew, it's tarnished, it's bent, it's broken. Who cares? It doesn't matter. There are all different ways to accumulate. I don't know how easy it would be today, but I used to go to thrift stores all the time and go through their flatware. And if it's marked sterling on the back, it's 92.5% pure. I've picked up picture frames that are 925 silver, where the Mexican jewelry, it's marked 925. It's 92.5% pure. You've got 10 carat, 14 carat, 18 carat, 22 carat, it doesn't matter what the condition is, and people don't realize that. So there are all different ways that you can collect and accumulate silver whether you have the money or not, right? There's just different ways to do it. Another way, and I'll give you this too, which is if you have an antique mall near you or something like that, find a dealer that does a lot with silver and gold. And contact that dealer and say, hey, if you got some scrap gold, or if you got some scrap silver, or, some stuff that's broken and, they know it's gold and silver, but they basically can't put it out. So if you offer to pay them spot, if they took it to a smelter, they would get below spot. So, be a little creative. There is, obviously, give us a call for your strategy, but I want everybody to be accumulating gold and silver no matter where they live anywhere in the world. And, no matter what your circumstance is, there's typically always a way. You just have to be a little creative. And what are your thoughts about that Bitcoin reserve? I'm not really sure. I've seen a few things. Would you write that down for me? And let's address that next week. Okay. And Chaotic Anarchy X asks, what's Lynette's thoughts on Robert Kiyosaki pushing the Bitcoin? Well, I know Robert. We're very good friends. We do a lot of events together, and he even lives near enough to me. Unfortunately, too far for him to come down and visit, though. And he holds gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that for me, I want to see where the dust settles, and then I will accumulate whatever seems the right thing to do. And when I do it, I will let you know. So, Robert is a little more aggressive than I am. I'm probably a little bit more conservative than he is, but he's got gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Nothing wrong with that. He's diversified, right? Bitcoin is kind of in the air, but he has the hard assets as well. And I love Robert. He's a very dear friend, and I always like seeing him. And he's very funny. He's very, very funny. Okie doke. And very colorful, which if you've watched him, you know. J.P. Haynes asks, what are your thoughts on whole life insurance policies? How will they fare during and after the reset? Well, I know how the whole life policies are sold, and they kind of are sold as if you're accumulating this money here. So part of it is for life insurance, part of it is for savings. But the insurance companies, whether it's whole life or it's annuities or it's any of that, if you read your contract that you signed when you bought the annuity, or that they want you to sign if you haven't done it yet, it is only as good as the claims paying ability of the company. And if you read the reports on what's happening in the insurance industry, when the central banks held interest rates for 15 years at 0%, insurance companies have now gotten into a lot higher, less liquid, means harder to sell, assets to fund your policy. Not only that, but I did a piece, maybe we can put the link in there, that I did on insurance not that long ago, because private equity is also going in and buying these insurance companies, creating these garbage products and putting them into your policies. So it isn't just whole life, it's annuities, it's everything else. And I'm going to tell you, insurance doesn't mean anything. It's about the claims paying ability. So I don't own any of that. None of it. But you do what you're comfortable with. And Marlinda says, what happens when the grid goes down? Anything that's on the grid. So that goes back to, you want to make sure that you have security in food, water, energy, security itself, barterability. So that's where, like, the constitutional money, all the dimes and quarters and half dollars and all that, right? Barterability, wealth preservation, but also barterable gold, different sizes. Look at all these different sizes, right? You want to make sure that you have, okay, I'm going to start over from the beginning because it's easier for me to remember. I'm old. What do you want, right? So it's food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, which is arguably at this point the single most important point of the mantra, and shelter. You've got to get it done, because if the grid goes down, you still need to eat, you still need to have water, you still need to have security, you still need to have energy, you still need to have all of these things. So stay tuned, because after this, we've got a whole bunch of organization that we're going to be doing to bring out our new mantra YouTube channel that will address all of that and more. And this is going to be way better than Beyond Gold and Silver, because I got a way better team than I did now. And just wait. You guys know this is very near and dear to my heart, and we're getting it done, and it's going to be good. It's going to be so good. And M. Baker asks, Lynette, do you agree that treasuries are not assets? Correct. They're debt. That's what they are. And any debt runs counterparty risk. And goodness, I did this study back, I think it was 2009, because I said to myself, at that time, we were 13 trillion in debt. Now we're over 35. But in 2009, we were about 13 trillion in debt. Yet, if you go on the Fed and you look at the surplus and deficits, that was after the crisis. So that was like the first time that our deficits just went down and were something like $1 trillion or something like that. And I said to myself, why are we servicing 13 trillion in debt when we really haven't run horrendous deficits in the past, and we're only $1 trillion down in deficits now? Well, on the Fed, you can click in and you can get that whole spreadsheet on going all the way back to the beginning of whatever it is that they're tracking. And so I did that. And what I discovered is that the income that the government was generating was not enough to cover all of their interest that they were actually paying on that debt, let alone, let's forget the principal, because who cares about that? And so what I found is that we are compounding interest on the debt, and we ain't ever getting out of debt when you do that, other than a hyperinflationary event to wipe all that debt off and pay it back with dollars that have no value. So I need the question because I want to make sure I answered it. So yes, I do agree. It's hard for me to consider any fiat money tools, instruments as assets. Gold and silver are assets. A house to live in where you can grow your own food and secure your water and your security and take care of your those are assets. But you have to have the ability to maintain them. And property taxes, even if your mortgage is paid off, property taxes create a threat. So that's part of the strategy. And Ron Selyu asks, what do you think about 90% I think you're talking about constitutional money. I love it, love it, love it. I have all different sizes, but if I had to say, well, which is my favorite, and you shouldn't go by this because a lot of it also depends on availability, and I can't answer that question for you right now, but it is so much easier to put 2 dimes together than to break a quarter in half. So I love constitutional money.
What determines the constitutional money again? Is that a year?
Well, actually, in the Constitution, it says that only gold and silver are money, right? Everything are gold and silver coinage are money. So that's constitutional money because that's what it says in the Constitution.
Got it. Yeah, I got my first quarter. I think it was 1923 was the quarter. So yeah.
That's pre-1964.
Right.
It's 90% silver.
Yep. Very excited when I saw it. Honestly, it's kind of funny because I did a little bit of research on this, and it seems like they did a really good job of going and getting a lot of that silver out of the system. It's really rare to find that stuff. I mean,
yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Although I did have some clients, and what they would do, and you guys can try this too. I don't know how it'll work or not. If it works well, let us know. But they would go in and they would just get rolls of dimes and quarters and half dollars, right? Rolls. And then at night you sit there and you go through them and you find which ones are pre-64. You don't necessarily have to look at the dates. Look on the edge of the coin. Right? Look on the edge of the coin. If it's silver all the way through, then check the date. It's going to be most likely, I know it's going to be pre-1964 versus, I think I have one in here. That's not even real. I don't know, but you can see, this one, here it is. Okay? So you can see it looks like it has a copper color and it's just plated after that. So there you go.
So
Okay.
Sebastian is asking, can you explain why you said Bitcoin was up in the air and why? Like, what do you mean by that?
Okay. What I mean is it's not tangible. That's really what I mean. It's not tangible. It's an intangible asset, instrument. I mean, you can call it what you will. I know that it's a new tool, and they've created that new asset class and assigned value to it. But it's intangible. That's what I mean by up in the air. I at this point, because this is a currency life cycle issue, I'm going true 6,000 years of tradition. Proven. Bitcoin, not proven. Now is going to be the test. That's what we're looking at now. This is the test. What's going to happen? We're going to find out, aren't we? And we're all going to find out together. Let's see. Mr. Z. Hi, Lynette. Being in Canada, I hope you guys are going to come to the VRIC show and let me know. But how do you recommend getting a hold of pre-33 gold? I can only find bullion. You know, there's some things we can discuss, and there are some things that are a little more challenging to discuss. So stay tuned. A&A asks, I'm sorry I didn't answer that question, but I can't. They're call us. Okay. A&A asks, I'm late getting on. Pre-33 gold, like a Frank, well, this is a French rooster, so yes. And ma'am, no one knows how to safely sign up for crypto. We need to be taught, but we don't trust anyone. And I don't trust that. I trust this. Hold it and own it. How many times, how many times can you be lied to when you don't know the truth? I don't trust Wall Street. Do you trust Wall Street? I lived a long time in the belly of the beast between banking and between being a stockbroker, and I'm not doing that anymore, am I? But I certainly understand that language. So I'm right there with you.
On the pre-33, there's a kind of an interesting question here from Powder Puff. Why do you believe the governments aren't buying up all the pre-33 gold?
Oh, because it's less than 2% of the total gold market. It's not, and it's classified as a collectible. So the governments don't really care about that. There's a whole lot more, is this it? No. There's a whole lot more monetary gold than there is these pre-33 slabbed. And were they to do a confiscation, because that goes back to the eminent domain laws that say the government can take anything they want. They just have to pay you fair value. Well, they can control the spot market that you see. So let's just say, this is what I think it's going to look like. I could be right, I could be wrong. But let's just say that spot happens to be at $3,000 an ounce when they decide to do a confiscation. They want your easy cooperation. They know that most of the monetary gold is held in IRAs, right? So you're not holding it, so it's easy for them just to go in and do a big sweep. But they don't want backlash, and they don't want you to not cooperate. So with spot at 3,000, they go, okay, we're going to take it, but we're going to pay you $4,000 an ounce. And you're going to, like most people, hopefully you won't because you'll know better, but most people would go, well, wow, look at how great they are. They're going to pay us $4,000 when it's only worth $3,000. And then, just like they did back in 33, after they get all the gold that they want, that's when they do the overnight revaluation. And every single central bank has a revaluation account, a gold revaluation account. Let's see. Maria Spoon asks, why does the numismatic date 1933 stay stagnant? Why does it not move with the times? Because 1933 was the last time in this country that gold was officially confiscated. And then they didn't, in the US, we did not create any new gold coins until 1986. And so that's monetary gold. That's new gold. Okie doke.
Actually, there was one more question. And I actually have a question for you. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind rock and roll hoochie coo.
So it actually has to do with the confiscation idea.
Okay.
Okay. And kind of what I was thinking, and again, hey guys, if you think I sound, not educated, it's because I'm not. I'm learning here a lot.
Right. I mean, I love it when new
is why I'm
people come
asking.
in, so it's great.
So
Okay.
on the topic of confiscation, right? If we look at the total amount of gold, the total amount of population of people that own gold, it's a very small amount, right? It's a very small amount.
Absolutely.
Do you think, like when I see that number of percentage of people that are owning gold, which I think I saw something like 3%.
If that.
It's really, really low. Why are you concerned about the 3%, right? Because that would be the people that were concerned of losing their gold, right?
Well,
Is that the
quite
right
honestly,
question?
my goal is to broaden gold ownership, right? I mean,
Right,
that's what we've
right.
got to do, because otherwise, when whatever you've got in fiat money products goes away, so does all of your wealth. It transfers. Gold never, or wealth never disappears. It just shifts location. And so the whole system has been set up to almost invisibly shift it their way and away from you. So why do I care about the 3%? Because these guys, pardon me, you guys, piss me off. How do they even get the opportunity to think that they have the right to abuse us the way they abuse us? This is the fight, because it's not okay with me. Not okay. I have children. I have grandchildren. You have children. You have grandchildren. I am tired of the lies and the theft. So yeah, I want more and more people to have gold. To have gold that is less likely to be confiscated. And you can stay way below the fundamental value. That's easy peasy. Thank you for the gift of gold manipulation, because it enables us to buy it cheap. So, did I answer your question? But yeah, because they piss me off, because I cannot stand it when people are lied to. And every time they get in front, and who's they? The central banks, the governments. They lie, and they lie, and they lie, and oh, did I say? They lie some more. You want to know the truth? Hold it, own it. That's the truth. And with that,
the secondary question, yeah, because you did answer the first part of my
Okay.
question. I have a second part, which
Okay.
is, and someone asked this as well, and that's kind of where I came with the question.
Okay.
Is Angela Barnes. To clarify, if they demand, which I'm guessing is we're talking about
central banks, the
right? Central
governments,
banks, they
working
can't just
together.
take it away, right? They're going to pay us for it. Is that
eminent domain, babe. Eminent domain. And what did they do back in 33? They paid you $20. This is a $20 gold coin. They paid you $20, and when they got all the gold they thought they were going to get, then they revalued it to $35 an ounce. And you lost all that purchasing power. So, yeah, I mean, did I answer that?
you did?
Okay. So, tell everybody about this live stream, because we do not screen these questions. You can ask me absolutely anything. And if I don't know, I'll just set it up and bring it to you next week, which you're going to see some pieces, like one was on the 33 coins. And I went all the way back. I just took the one little chart and I showed you what the truth is, and I explain it. So I don't know when that's coming out, but we've recorded it earlier today. So probably this week, next week, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe
we'll have it out.
maybe when we're in New Hampshire, because so you'll see me, but I'm actually going to be live in New Hampshire, and I hope I see you there. And let me know that you come to the live, because I love meeting all the members of our community. And having said that, I 100% know that together we grow this community locally and globally. we can make a positive impact on a lot of people together. Maybe even people that aren't even born yet. What a great thing. We have the opportunity to do some great things here. Let's come together. I can't do it by myself, but together we can. And until next we meet, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.